Hello, laddies and lassies. My name is John Alexander Macdonald. Today, most Canadians know me as the father of Confederation, since I helped put this great country of Canada together and also became its first Prime Minister. Building a country isn't easy. There are many challenges and also many major events during my term as leader of Canada. I'd like to show you some of these things and teach you a little bit about these events. And then later on, I'm sure you'll be challenged to a staunch testing of your abilities. Canada became a country in 1867. It was called Confederation. As Prime Minister, I was involved in overseeing the creation of our country and making sure that it stretched from coast to coast. Each region was called a province or a territory. And the 4 provinces that started what I like to call our Canadian team in 1867 was Ontario, Quebec, New Brunswick, and Nova Scotia. In 1869, the Northwest Territories became part of Canada. Well, this was an interesting story. Like buying a house, Canada bought the Northwest Territories for about $1.5 million. Basically, the Scotsman in me, we stole it. That's right, we took it away from him. We bought this territory from the Hudson's Bay Company, one of the biggest businesses in Canada at the time that owned most of the land. You probably know this company now as a department store, the Bay. This means that during my term as Prime Minister, 7 provinces and 1 territory became the team members of our country. Now I want to ask you a wee question. What is it that makes a great leader and turns him into someone who will one day be known as a Canadian legend? Aye. Well, there are probably many qualities, but one of the most important is knowing how to deal with the everyday challenges. Let me give you a wee example. In 1873, I was forced to step down from my position as Prime Minister of Canada because of a dispute that centered on the building of the railway. Despite the setback, I never abandoned my dream of building a country and having a railway that stretched from coast to coast. In fact, in 1878, 5 years later, I was re-elected to Prime Minister and continued my dream of building the Canadian Pacific Railway. Many people told me that I was crazy, that this project couldn't be done. However, I proved them wrong, didn't I? Look at it, there it is, the CPR there today, from coast to coast. And I pushed ahead and completed the railway on November 7th, 1885. Do you know why the railway system was the national dream? Ugh. It would cross 5,000 kilometers of territory. It would make trading from east to west possible for the first time, and it would become the longest railway on Earth. In 1885, a small battle in Saskatchewan called the Northwest Rebellion saved the Canadian Railway from going bankrupt. The Northwest Rebellion was not a pleasant time in Canadian history. The French-speaking Indian tribes called Métis were losing land to the English settlers in the western part of Canada. The French leader was Louis Riel himself, and he and I did not get along very well, to put it mildly. Louis Riel led a group of people who turned on the English in the west. I had to send 5,000 soldiers from the army to stop this rebellion. With the help of the railway, I was able to transport the soldiers in only 7 days. If it were not for the railway, this voyage wouldn't have taken about 3 months. Therefore, not only did the rebellion end quickly, but it also proved to the Canadian people that we needed this railway system. Some of my other dreams was to have a national police force to protect the country, and to have a national park. The police force was created in 1873 as the Northwest Mounted Police, and later became known as the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, with the RCMP. Oh, I'm sure you've seen pictures of them with their red coats and riding their horses and the people calling them Mounties. A few years later, in 1885, our first national park was developed at Banff, Alberta. When I ended my career as Prime Minister in 1891, I was 76 years old. As Canada's first Prime Minister, I hope the Canadians will remember me as the man who had great vision, many triumphs and accomplishments, and the one who made Canada a nation from coast to coast. Underneath Canada's coats of arms, you'll see the Latin phrase, "Imere iusque ad mare," which means from sea to sea. Well, think of me when you see this. Oh, you'll be doing well, and I'm proud to have you as Canadians. And thanks for taking a look at my life.
They've got trees and mooses and sled dogs, lots of lumber.